The crazy quilt was about 1890 to 1910. After that, Lady Godey's book said, oh, it's a past fashion. And then you had the Depression era with their bright pastels. And after, actually the period between the end of World War I and the Depression, and then up to about the 1970s was sort of a fallow period for quilting, especially after World War II. Women started working in factories in large numbers in World War II, and so a lot of these home type crafts sort of fell by the wayside to a certain extent. But then there was a revival around the bicentennial, and one of the things that happened is women said, I am an artist. I work in ceramics, I work in paint, I can work in fabric. And so we have innovative quilt makers who have no desire to make bed quilts. It's almost as if the fact that a quilt was made for a bed gave the earlier quilt makers license to be creative. Well, the women who make quilts like this, the license is just a given. That's part of your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And if your pursuit of happiness is this, you don't need to say, well, I made it for a bed, so it's okay. This was made by Helene Davis of Paducah, Kentucky in 2008. Helene is a master dyer and fabric printer. She hand dyed all her own fabrics and hand printed all the fabrics in this quilt. Today's art quilters, and actually the late Hilary Fletcher, who was really in on the beginning of the Quilt National competition at the Dairy Barn in Athens, Ohio, didn't like the term art quilter. Because a painter doesn't say, I'm an art painter, or a sculptor doesn't say, I'm an art sculptor. So this quilt is made by an innovative quilter. And one way of thinking about it, these are studio art quilts. These are made by people whose quilt studio is their art studio. And we have gone all the way from dyes that rotted away because of the iron mordants to look what you can produce if you put your mind to it yourself. And they still have sewing machines, they have long arm machines, they have the rotary cutter, and they'll try anything. What do I need? I have actually seen quilts made that have matches all over them. And museums don't like to handle those kind of quilts because obviously there are concerns with displaying them, but anything's possible, anything goes. Fabric is a medium as much as paint, as much as marble, as much as ink. Doesn't matter. So whatever you choose to make as a quilt maker today, you can. And then if you look straight ahead, you will see a quilt from around 1840, 1850s, and that has a Prussian blue print in it. And if you can believe it, since women didn't wear white wedding gowns in the mid-1800s, a lot of wedding dresses were made out of those big Prussian blue prints. So that wasn't from, there was so much fabric needed to make this quilt that was probably purchased specifically for that quilt. But just as Helene didn't cut or use leftovers from her wedding dress to make her innovative quilt, this person went out and bought fabric for her innovative quilt. So everything's new, but everything's old. And quilting looks forward and back to get inspiration and to pay homage to those that went before.